What's going on, you guys? One of the biggest opportunities I think that is completely being overlooked right now, if you are considering buying a FedEx P&D business, is the idea of safety. Now, 15 years ago, if your drivers got into wrecks or got into accidents, it didn't really impact your net income or your bottom line all that much. Now, these days, that's not the case. FedEx will penalize people for not being safe, and they will actually reward people and give bonuses for people that are safe. And what I'm seeing a lot of times is that when people are considering buying these FedEx P&D businesses, they see issues with accidents and safety and they shy away and they try to find another deal. That's fine, but I also want to encourage you to continue to take a look, because I think that there is some huge upside in these particular businesses that are for sale. And the ones that I've seen recently hit my desk, literally in terms of how we model out what that financial, what those financial sort of profiles look like, we're seeing like 20 to 30% of an increase in terms of profitability, not revenue, because that's, who cares? Profitability in terms of going from being unsafe to being very safe. Now, whether you own routes or whether you're considering buying them, I think this is going to be helpful for you to consider. Now, here's the thing. When people consider the idea of how to address safety, they try to address it directly. Well, should we have more meetings? Should we remind the drivers to turn their headlights on at night? Should they use their turn signals? Like, yeah, you could do that, but I don't think that this is the most efficient or effective way. And so if you consider the idea of safety almost like happiness, like if you consider like this Zen moment of route management, if you consider what it's going to take to be happy, well, you could talk to a therapist and maybe they try to convince you to be happy. Hey, look at the silver lining on things. But it might be easier if you were just magically in shape, your relationships were great, and you got to bed on time. That's probably going to be a faster way for you to achieve happiness, more so than just trying to convince you to be happy. The exact same thing is the case when it comes to safety. People are so focused on addressing the idea of safety directly that they don't realize that safety is a byproduct. It is not something that you can attach or address head on. You have to let this happen as a byproduct. So what are the byproducts and how do we solve this? Because again, I think there's huge upside potential for you to come in, fix these businesses, and then start to reap the rewards of a safe organization. So how do we deal with this? Well, there's a couple of different ways, but I'm going to give you one just to get the ball rolling so you can start to think about this. When we consider why people get into accidents, it's not because they're doing it on purpose. It's literally the definition of accident that it's not on purpose. So therefore, talking about safety and trying to encourage people to be safe is not working. What does work? What works is making sure that your drivers aren't overworked and they can drive in a vehicle safely. So how do we deal with the safe driving issue in terms of the trucks? Well, make sure the trucks are maintained, that the wheels aren't flying off, and you'd be surprised. But the point is like maintenance is going to be one thing. The second thing that's, I think, overlooked by a lot of contractors, and the reason why is because it drops their profitability. And again, we're not going to use margins in this because you can see right now why margins wouldn't work. So, for example, let's say a driver is starting to rush. He's getting exhausted. He's working till 8 o'clock at night. You can solve this problem so easily. You don't tell him to be safer or to slow it down because he doesn't want to work till 8:30 at night or 9 o'clock at night. You need to make sure that he has not worked so freaking hard. So how do we do this? We buy another truck, we hire another driver. Voila! Suddenly, the driver's no longer having to work as fast or as hard, and now he can take his time to back up into the driveways, to look and check both of his mirrors, to not be completely exhausted by the end of the day because he's lifted 400 packages out of the truck to be able to get the route done. So just because there is a simple solution doesn't mean that people will do it. In fact, a lot of times that they won't, but you can instantly solve these problems of safety by simply adding additional routes and making sure that the vehicles are more maintained. And that will solve this as a byproduct as opposed to addressing safety head on. So the point is, if you're trying to solve a problem, try to look and see if the problem that you're trying to solve, if it seems difficult, see if it is a byproduct, happiness, safety, so on and so forth, right? Make sure that it can be addressed directly. Secondly, in terms of you seeing a deal where the safety is not great, I want to encourage you to consider what would it take to solve that problem? Can we realistically solve this? How much money would it take to hire another driver, to buy another truck, to maintain these trucks to a higher level of standards? And the safety will inadvertently happen, whether you want it to or not. It's a byproduct of better management. So it's not about being safe, it's about managing your business better, and safety comes as that byproduct. Hopefully this helps. Take care, talk soon, and bye-bye.